Now, from CBS 4 News, this is Facing South Florida with Jim DeFede.
Good morning, I'm Jim DeFede, and welcome to Facing South Florida. By now, I'm sure you've seen this video. There is no excuse for what that officer did. This video doesn't occur in a vacuum, and later in the show, we're going to take a look at the bigger picture. We're also going to take you inside the world of illegal street racing in South Florida. We have some incredible video you'll want to see. But first, earlier this week, I had a chance to interview Tom Steyer, the billionaire who's been calling for the impeachment of Donald Trump. He is spending $3.5 million in Florida to help Democrats win back the House, and he is helping organize efforts to unseat Republican Congressman Carlos Curbelo. But we started our conversation discussing President Trump, and I asked him why he thinks impeachment, rather than just waiting for the next presidential election, is the way to go.
We believe it is absolutely urgent because we believe he is putting our democracy at risk, and we believe he's putting the safety and health of Americans at risk on a daily basis by being so reckless.
Are you not concerned that this might start a tit for tat, that if you're able to impeach a Republican, then the next time the Democrats in the White House, the Republicans will do everything they can to impeach the Democratic president, and back and forth, and rather than have elections, we're just going to have a series of impeachment hearings?
Actually, the founders gave us impeachment as a remedy for a reckless, lawless president. That is the remedy. And so there has to be a willingness to see, you have to see that the criteria are met and that it's urgent. And in my lifetime, the only other time that I've seen this happen was with Richard Nixon, where he was a reckless, lawless president. And subsequent to his leaving office, we've seen that, in fact, impeachment was absolutely necessary and appropriate. So the problem with the argument that you're making, which is that we're normalizing the processes of impeachment, is that when you get a president like President Trump, who absolutely needs to be removed from office, when you make that argument, what you do is you normalize his behavior. You normalize his law-breaking. You normalize his deceitfulness. You normalize his recklessness. So that's an argument for never doing anything. The fact of the matter is, this is the remedy the founders gave us. It's entirely appropriate at this point. And to worry about what the consequences are going to be, this is the truth, the most important truth in American politics, and we're telling.
So let's not talk about it from a constitutional standpoint. Let's talk about it from a political standpoint. There are a number of Democrats who think that talking about impeachment helps the Republicans in the midterm elections. That they don't want to see articles of impeachment introduced on the floor of the House now. They don't want candidates talking about impeachment. They think it hurts them in the long run in 2018.
You know, in American history, every time there's been an important but awkward truth, there have been political insiders, like the ones you're describing, who've explained that this is not the time. When the civil rights movement was coming along, everybody explained to Dr. King, this is early. We'll get there, but please keep your mouth shut because you're causing problems. The Parkland students, a lot of elected officials, a lot of inside the Beltway people have been explaining that this is not the time. You may be telling the truth, it may be an important truth, but this is awkward for us politically. And what we believe is that telling the most important truth in American politics is something that has to happen. If you want a political system that's responsive to the people of the United States of America, you don't sit there and say the most important truth in America. Let's bury it. Let's not tell it because it's awkward and inconvenient for us politically. No, how do you ever have any credibility with the American people if you're not willing to tell the most important truth in America?
Well, let's talk about the midterm elections, because I know you're focused on that. Your group, NextGen America, is doing not fundraising, but grassroots organizing. You're also a major campaign contributor to different causes and to candidates. What do you see going on in Florida? What races are you going to be getting involved with? How pivotal a role do you see yourself and NextGen America playing in the midterm elections?
NextGen is a grassroots organization. What we're doing in Florida is trying to engage people in the process, to give them a chance to talk to each other on the biggest issues, and by being engaged and seeing how important those issues are, to encourage them to show up and vote on November 6th.
And who do you want them voting for? What are the races that you're focused on?
We are organized by House districts. We're in 4 congressional districts in the state of Florida, organizing predominantly people under the age of 35.
So I know the two that you're playing with down here is the seat Carlos Corbell currently holds and is trying to defend, and the seat being vacated by Ileana Ros-Lehtinen.
Correct.
In both those cases, do you have a candidate that you want to see in those races? So for instance, in the Carlos Corbell race, are you supporting Carlos Corbell or his Democratic opponent, Debbie Murcaso-Powell?
In every one of these cases, what we're doing is we will end up being on the Democratic side, I believe. In many of these cases, we don't know who the Democratic candidate will be until after the primaries.
So on the other race, the Ileana Ros-Lehtinen race, there are 4 Democrats running, including Donna Shalala and others. You're not getting involved in the primary.
We're not choosing anyone in the primary, but what we are trying to do is we're trying to make sure as much information is available to voters before the primary so that they can make a good choice. We're doing candidate forums. We are on 40 college campuses in the state of Florida, including 10 community colleges and 4 historically black colleges and universities.
I know you held an event later this afternoon. You're going to be holding an event. We're taping this on Tuesday at noon. You're going to be at Miami-Dade College holding an event there, a roundtable discussion. I know you're opening an office in Broward. But in addition to the grassroots organizing, are you going to be personally and through your PACs and through your money also putting money into these races? Because money is a major factor, and you're a wealthy guy.
Well, what we are trying to do is to organize young people.
So that's a no on the money?
Well, no, I'm going to explain how we use the money, because what you're asking me is, are we giving money to the races, to the candidates directly? And the answer is no. What we're doing is we're doing an independent effort to engage, involve, and turn out young people. Young people under 35 in the United States of America are the largest age cohort in the United States. They vote at approximately half the rate of other American citizens. We believe it's really important for our democracy that they participate and understand how important their participation is. And we've shown that when they're organized and involved, they are twice as likely. The people who we talk to under 35 are twice as likely to vote as other citizens under 35.
I have to just fit one more question in, because it's a Senate race. We talked about the House races, but there's also a major Senate race taking place right now. Current Governor Rick Scott is running to replace, to unseat Bill Nelson.
Right.
Rick Scott has famously, there's been allegations that Rick Scott has banned the term climate change or global warming from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. He's considered anti, climate change in general. What's your view on that race, and are you going to be getting involved in that race as well?
If you do what we do, which is to organize people to be educated on the issues and to show up at the polls, then you're involved in every race on the ballot. If young people show up in Miami-Dade to vote in the congressional race, they will also vote for governor.
So what's your opinion
They will
of Rick
also
Scott?
vote for Senate. I have a very low opinion of Governor Scott.
Why is that? Talk to me about that.
Well, I think you started by talking about climate. He has been willing to hide the truth, to lie on an incredibly important issue for all of South Florida because he thinks it's politically expedient. And in my opinion, I can have absolute respect for someone who I do not agree with if they do 2 things: tell the truth and put the interests of the American people ahead of themselves. Those are the only 2 things I ask. And after that, I'm willing to compromise, to listen to everybody. But if you're not going to do those 2 things, I have no respect for you.
Are you endorsing in the governor's race? Are you supporting Philip Levine? He's made climate change. He's a Democrat running in the primary. You know Philip, right?
Sure.
Are you supporting him? I mean, he's made climate change his issue. Are you endorsing him?
We are doing exactly what I said in the governor's race that we're doing in these congressional seats.
Has he asked you to endorse him?
Not directly.
Has he asked you for money?
Not directly.
Are you going to give him any money?
What we are going to do is exactly what I said, Jim, which is we are going to organize young people to show up. We are going to let Democratic voters vote on August 28th to decide which of those gubernatorial candidates is best in their opinion, and then we're going to support that person.
When we come back, the relationship between the police and the black community in Miami.